Well within the realm of possibility that a year from now we're talking about number one wide receiver in fantasy football, Malik Nabers. Just obviously the talent is there. All the reports out of Giants camp is that Russell Wilson only has eyes from Malik Nabers, which is smart when you think about it. But a massive target share. He had 35% target share last year. I think he continues that just with better quarterback play. I think the Giants are going to be better overall. So I have no issues with him in the first round. Like I've wound up with a lot of Malik Nabers. I think he is as safe as possible.
Yep, guy taken I think 2 spots ahead of Malik Nabers in the draft a couple years ago. Marvin Harrison Jr. Is the guy for me here. Still think we just have to regress to the fact that he was a generational wide receiver prospect like a year ago. And then, yeah, he had a tough first year. But a lot of that was that he and Kyler were just not on the same page with a lot of the deep balls. And I think that will get better. It seems like he's kind of remade his body a little bit. I think Kyler Murray, who was an elite deep ball thrower earlier in his career, can get back to that. I'm just higher on the Cardinals in general than most people. And it's not like he was awful last year, Marvin Harrison. It was just that he underwhelmed relative to expectations. So I think he still has a top 10 wide receiver season well within the range of outcomes.
For sure. I spoke to an offensive coach of the Cardinals at the Combine, and I said, what was the deal with Marvin Harrison? And they said, he was good last year. This year we find out if he's great. And I do think that that's a mindset they have is they need to unlock Marvin Harrison Jr. I've seen some of the camp footage. Looks like he's bulked up a little bit, Connor.
Yeah, he's strong, and he's obviously able to moss people.
Yeah.
Just want to see more consistent separation. I think in fantasy, what we care about, too, is some of those manufactured touches that he didn't really get a lot of last year.
Yeah, which I think will come. But I think similar to how, this is going to sound like a weird comparison, but because why everyone was just like, wow, Caleb struggled. And Caleb didn't struggle as much as just Jaden took off, right? Bryce Young, yes, he struggled, but it was amplified by the fact that C.J. Stroud was so good. Marvin Harrison was fine last year. He just wasn't Malik Nabers or Brian Thomas Jr., and that was sort of the issue. And so I do think there's value to be had there. As you mentioned, he is somebody that was widely considered a generational talent.
I'll go with a ride-or-die candidate, Drake London.
Sure.
Yeah, right now.
Detective Drake London.
ADP, 22.2. Matthew, you're a little higher on him, number 16 overall, wide receiver 9 in your rankings. He's being drafted as the 10th wide receiver. Going back to your point about Penix and the big plays, in fact, Darnell Mooney's hurt, and London is just going to be this alpha wide receiver. And I don't have to tell you, you can look at it right here, the sheer amount of targets that he gets. Guys, I think top 5 wide receiver in fantasy, Drake London this year, is really in the range of outcomes based off just the volume that he's going to command, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we like Darnell Mooney. I like him as a late-round flyer, but Drake London was the 8th overall player taken the year he came out. We're not really worried about Kyle Pitts. I'm not falling for Kyle Pitts camp talk for the 8th year in a row, whatever it is. And so we like Penix, we like this offense, and he's an alpha wide receiver with the draft capital and the skills to back it up. He hasn't put it together for a full year yet, but we've seen moments of that. His 3 starts, again, super small sample size, but again, he had a 40% target share, 23 fantasy points per game in those 3 starts, and I think a lot of that will continue. So a lot of the reasons you like Penix, same with Drake London. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.